How do you go from selling roofing supplies to building a roofing company that wins multifamily, new construction, and high-margin service jobs all within 4 years? In this episode, we're talking with David Dees about what it really takes to build a professional, well-diversified roofing company from the ground up. From starting Force Roofing in 2021 to rebuilding trust after hiring missteps, David shares how to grow with intention, leverage vendor partnerships, and avoid the chaos that sinks startups. David is the founder of Force Roofing Systems, a Middle Tennessee-based company that's built a name on service, consistency, and smart diversification. Drawing on a decade of experience with Beacon Supply, he brings a unique perspective to product knowledge, project management, and business development. What makes David's story stand out is his humility and honesty. He's fired builders, rebuilt teams, and turned mistakes into growth. Whether he's pricing repairs, nurturing builder relationships, or training project managers, David shows what it means to play the long game in roofing. If you're tired of chasing chaos and want a clear strategy for scaling the right way, this episode is packed with lessons you can implement today. Let's dive in with David Dees from Force Roofing Systems. Welcome to the Roofing Success Podcast. I'm Jim Aline, and I'm here to bring you insights from top leaders in the roofing industry to help you grow and scale your roofing business. David Dees, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good, Jim. Good to see you.
Force Roofing Systems, man. We've known each other for a while now. I've gotten to watch your whole journey, and it's fun. It's fun for me to do this. But I think we met. You might have been listening to the podcast and reached out, man, years ago, right? And we started having conversations, and you were asking questions maybe about, hey, what. Who's good to know around this topic or that topic, and maybe a good sales coach or maybe a good this or that. But so we've gotten to know each other over the years. Tell everyone a little bit about your story and how Force Roofing came to be.
Yeah, well, I started on the supply side of the business. Worked at Beacon Roofing Supply, QXO now. For 9.5 years, and built a really good, started my career there and built a good foundation. Really enjoyed the supply side of the business, and, really learned a lot about product knowledge, estimating, learning about our customers, different types of businesses, whether they were, production turnkey roofer, restoration roofer, commercial, residential. I just found it so fascinating to meet with those contractors, learn about their business, and kind of see their niche, I guess April of 21 is when we started Force Roofing, and just how do it was one of those times in my life where I was very interested in doing the entrepreneur route. And I needed to do it before it was too late. So we started Force Roofing, and here we are, a little over 4.5 years in. And, we've made some success. We've had some lessons learned, and we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. How was that? That was a big leap, big leap of faith that you made, right? I mean, you were a regional manager for Beacon at the time, I think, if I remember right. Sales director. Yep.
Yeah. And
so you had a
sales team, and helped them all grow their business, and different markets.
So decent corporate job.
Yeah.
Paid the bills.
It's a really good company to work for.
Yeah.
They take care of their employees. They, I think training is the number one thing for them. Every month there's some sort of vendor training. That was the perk, right? That's how I got to learn the business. Everything from asphalt shingles to roof coatings to single ply membranes, to modifieds. And that was a consistent basis. We were having mandatory trainings all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then what what was in you that it was like, man, I gotta do something on my own here. I gotta leave this corporate environment, the steady paycheck, and kind of make the leap into entrepreneurship. Where do you think that came from?
Yeah, I'd say that I'm a competitor and I like to compete. I like to, see if I can build something. I will say that out of all those years selling contractors, I would remember leaving their offices, just really just looking up to them, going, man, I envy that guy. I think so highly of him or her. And they're really building something. They're providing jobs for people. They're building a foundation. They're giving back to the community. And as great as it was to have a steady paycheck and benefits and all that stuff, I never really did look up to my leadership that way. And don't take that the wrong way. Of course, I looked up to my leadership, but and they're all wonderful. But I never did envy, them like I did, a roofing contractor or an entrepreneur. You wanting to do something a little bit bigger than yourself.
Yeah, it is. There's a big difference there. There's people that are, excellent, high quality people in corporate leadership and, executive positions all over the, many companies. But it's different when it's different to watch someone build something from nothing. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. For me, it's a really special thing, and to take care of their families and take care of their people and watch something like that. You'd mentioned you got to see the niches as you were, seeing, man, this is storm restoration companies. These are different, commercial. As you were making that leap, how did you decide this is what Force Roofing is going to focus on?
Yeah, I'd say that, my goal was that's kind of how you and I met, right?
Uh-huh.
We wanted to come out looking like a first-class organization. I didn't want to come out looking like Chuck in the truck with a magnet on my truck and, a website that, I did a tutorial on. I wanted to make sure that I was, like having you with Roofer Marketers build our website, really launch our SEO, help us try to get out in the marketplace. Our niche is being a local service provider, and we aren't a storm chaser, but we do multiple types of roofing. I guess that's because we can. It's because we have that knowledge. But on the residential side, we do everything from repairs to retail roof replacements, insurance roof replacements, asphalt shingles, metal. We know how to kind of dissect a roof. There's a lot of houses here in the Middle Tennessee market that will have 3 different types of roof systems on there. We don't have to call our supplier and ask them to do the takeoff for us or the material list for us. We kind of pride ourselves in that. So I guess our niche would be, we kind of really want to work for most folks that are people that are just looking for a roofing contractor. And we have a diverse business. We do new construction. So we work for production builders. We work for custom home builders. We work for homeowners, property management companies, general contractors. We don't own the market by any means. We have a lot of good competition here, but we definitely have, been able to build a brand that folks can trust and count on simply just for showing up and answering the phone. That's
amazing how far that goes.
Yeah, that goes a long ways.
So really, you've diversified your roofing business. So within your roofing business, I've had a couple of contractors that I've had on the show that I feel have a similar model where. So what did you start with? Because I know you started adding things. Did you start with everything, or did you start with, hey, we're just doing this first?
I'd say that, I always wanted to get into new construction. I did a lot of that when I was at Beacon and learned a lot about it, but that takes time. That's more on the business development side of stuff. We started out, just me in a truck, going around, getting the word out, using social media platforms, me going to insurance agents, asking to be a preferred vendor. Started out just doing residential re-roof and repairs. Then I'd say it took about 12 months, and we finally got in with some builders that gave us a chance. And I guess they knew my background and understood that, I wasn't just trying to do a one-time sales, trying to build a relationship. So we started out there, and then we had our first big break in commercial roofing probably about year 2. And that was actually because of you guys at Roofer Marketers and SEO. We had multifamily listed on our website, and we had a customer call in and said, "Hey, would you be interested in bidding this?" And of course we said yes, and we were fortunate enough to win the work. So that was kind of our, now we do all their roofing. So I think we just kind of keep falling into it a little bit, but we're out there, boots on ground. We're trying to talk to everybody and to let them know that we're a roofing contractor. We want to work for them.
Yeah. And that it's, I guess having the prior knowledge of the roofing systems probably helps, right? Like, and being able, what do you think, how much of an advantage did it give you to be in so many roofing businesses throughout your career on the distribution side? Like, do you think that gave you a different viewpoint on things? And then you also got the roofing systems knowledge, really, really, from a high level. Yeah. Now you're able to maneuver in your business a little bit easier. What were some of those lessons that you saw from those other companies? So, when you're working on the supply side of the business, every roof is a little different. And, I guess I was always curious and asked, why are we, shipping, fully adhered TPO system on this structure versus a mechanically fastened? And why do you install GAF versus CertainTeed? Or, just kind of having those kind of conversations over the years and being really curious about, a lightweight concrete deck versus a wood deck or a metal deck, and a tapered insulation package, what are the advantages of that and how do you do that, So I guess that gave me some advantages, with the lunch and learns that the vendors would do. And I would encourage that to all the contractors to attend all of the lunch and learns that, your local supply houses are putting on for you, whether it's Velux skylights or, a EPO training or asphalt shingle training. We always learn something every time we go, even if we think we know it all. Every year, the manufacturers are, upgrading their products and making changes, and they're keeping up with the new way of roofing. It's advanced. Every decade it keeps getting better and better. You've got to attend those classes. You've got to and welcome them into your shop. Yes. Well. Hey, if you want to bring value to me, let's don't just go to lunch. Why don't you come into our office? Let me bring my whole team in here. Let's do a lunch and learn. Let's have a more intimate training session, if you will. Like, hey, tell me a little bit more about this. And I think that's kind of been part of our success. What do contractors like? What from that perspective? Because I think this is a great topic that I think I don't know if I've ever had this conversation, but what ways can you leverage your manufacturers, your distribution partners to help grow your business? Like those product knowledge sessions, bringing them in, training the team, fantastic opportunities. And they're always willing. And they'll buy you lunch and bring it to your office a lot of times. And they'll it's part of their, it's part of what they do on a regular basis. What are some other things that a contractor that they're not thinking about from the contracting side? They don't even know that man, they'll come to my office and do this or what,
I'd say that, every one of your suppliers are hungry to come into your office and see how they can build value. We have a bad reputation in this industry. Just send me a price sheet and I'll let you know. When we talk to other vendors, suppliers or manufacturers, we're saying, obviously price is super important, but this is kind of what we look for in a distributor or in a manufacturer. One of the things we love about GAF is that they really do put the contractor first. And I'm not promoting GAF, but it's just that they really do, they have online training courses. Their vendors are consistently on a monthly, the manufacturer reps are consistently on a monthly basis trying to, schedule meetings with us or asking us what topics do we want to hear more about. It's super important that, maybe we say, hey, listen, to a supplier, listen, we'd love to have some education on Velux skylights. Why is it a deck mount versus a curb mount, right? Or, which skylights do you stock versus which ones you don't stock, and what are the advantages? And just do a 1 hour lunch and learn with a skylight vendor rep, or learn about your competition. You could be a GAF Master Elite. And if Owens Corning, Certainty, even Tamco's coming in saying, hey, we want to work with you, say, look, we're definitely open to have a lunch and learn, come in and educate us on your product. And that would just only help you when you go out and inspect that roof. Or
that's right.
Let's say you are working with a GC or a builder one day, and they're gonna say, hey, I understand you're a GAF contractor, but we want you to install Certainty. Are you really, going to miss out on that business because they have it specified? So I guess just your vendors, your manufacturer reps, your distributors are always wanting to work with you, and they're always wanting to add value to build a relationship with you. Let them know what you're looking for and how you're wanting to get better in your business. They have resources, and it'll really help you out.
What things are you looking for beyond just price?
Education's a big thing for us. We really want product knowledge. I want you to bring something to me that I don't know anything about. And that could be anything from, hey, we're not making this product this year, or we've changed our color options, or, we want to do, we got a new product coming into the market and we're going to have a training on it. GAF hosted an Xactimate training for the whole market for us here in Middle Tennessee. And it's not just product knowledge, right? It's like there's so many different parts to our business, with estimating, project management, sales training. It goes on and on. Accounting, financials, the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So when you're, when you were getting, I guess when you're getting started, when you got, you probably had some ideas in mind. I think I want to work with GAF or something like that. But like, what were those considerations that you made? Like, I want them to be, the relationship with the reps, I'm sure is a big thing. Mm-hmm. What are those, what made you make certain decisions versus others? Before we carry on with the episode, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors. I talk to contractors every day that feel stuck. Not because they're not working hard, but because they're missing the structure to growth without chaos. Or their culture's falling apart because their team's unclear, unaligned, or just burned out. And when change hits, they're reacting instead of leading because time and priorities aren't under their control. Day 41 Thrive helps to fix that with proven strategies for growth, culture, and leadership that actually work. Ready to thrive beyond the storm? Visit the link in the description or visit the Roofing Success Podcast website on the sponsors page to start your journey today. What made you make certain decisions versus others?
Well, I guess because of my background, I already had some relationships with some vendor reps, so I kind of already knew. But it does boil down to, I might like the folks at OC, and I like the folks at Atlas and Certainty and GAF, right? You can like them, but it's really, how can you help me get set up as a certified contractor? Now we're master elites. How can you help me build my business? How can we work closer together? And, if I call you and I need help with, sample boards or, any kind of technical question, I need to know who I can rely on to call. And that was really the biggest decision.
Yeah.
For us.
And then, so with that, like, I feel like that they have a vested interest in you succeeding. Like, I think that's the missed opportunity. A lot of times people will go into these relationships with vendors in almost an adversarial relationship, right? Where it's like, I'm just trying to beat them down on price. I'm just trying to get the, but like, if we're all rowing in the same direction, right? Like, they have a vested interest in you succeeding. And so really take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, at the end of the day, our job is to install their product, right?
That's right.
We want to move more product. We want to install more of their products. So how can we work together? Yeah.
So has your journey been from 2021 until now? That first year, the second year, what were some of those milestones that you hit along the way? And what were some of the tough parts?
Oh man, it was tough. Jim, I'll say that the first 2 years were probably the hardest 2 years of my life. The stress, I had no idea. When I was on the supply side of the business, I had no idea what our contractors went through. I had no idea the stress they went through with financials, employee turnover, the late night phone calls, the weekend phone calls, the irate customers that will just text you and almost harass you because you're not perfect. And whenever you're tearing off a roof, it is a demolition project, and you'll get chewed out just for a twig being snapped on a bush, or a small black scratch on a piece of concrete. Milestones. Wow. One of the good decisions I made early on was getting a drone to help do inspections. That helped me kind of move a little quicker. So we're with Loveland Drones now, but we were with another vendor before they went under, but or stopped. But the drones helped with. That was a good decision because it was a safe way, an accurate way for us to inspect roofs. And what was so great is that we were able to produce an inspection report with our logo on it. It's extremely professional, and send that to the homeowner. Really gave them a peace of mind. When we were able to start working with some builders in year 2, that was a big milestone. That was huge. Really kept us busy in 22, which was kind of a slower year. And, then we started, kind of started getting big enough to get some help, right? Needed an office manager. I was scared about hiring help because, I guess your ego gets in the way and you think you can carry all the burden on your chest, and you really can't. So I did make some bad hiring decisions, but I've also made very good hiring decisions that just outweigh the bad, right? We have folks that's been with us 3 and 4 years now, and we're so proud of that. And now they are helping folks onboard and train them, and so I guess people is one of the best things, and helped us out the most in 2022, 2023. It's all about culture. If you have a great culture, if you have a good team and you all are all communicating with one another and open with one another, you can really be successful. We're not a huge shop. There's 23 of us at Force Roofing, and we are like the F in Force stands for the Force family. We're starting to build tiers, and we have an estimating department. So now I'm not having to do all the estimating anymore. That took a lot off my and we have a strong sales team, and we have a great project management group, and a fantastic office staff that really do get it and understand customer service and accounts payable and receivables. I'm kind of going off on a tangent there.
That's all right. No, it is. So, it really does come down to the people a lot of times, and we do get scared of hiring. Along the way, what were some of the lessons you learned around hiring or recruiting the right people for your team?
I've heard it my whole life. What do they say? Fire fast and hire slow.
Mm-hmm.
I was the exact opposite. I was getting so busy that I was hiring fast and firing way too slow. And because of that, it cost me business. I made some bad hires that they were not a good fit for our company, our culture. They were extremely unprofessional to customers, snippy with them. They would receive phone calls and then they would hit ignore and then just text them back, and just horrible customer service. The worst you've ever seen. I'm going off on a tangent.
No, that's right. This is the type of stuff, though. Like, you'd said then you ended up leaving. Did you let them stay too long?
I let them stay way too long. I kept thinking that I could make them better. I was like, if they can just do 70% of it, or do it as good as I can 70% of the time, then it'll be okay. But that's not it. That is not
Mm-hmm.
it. They were bad for our culture. They were bad for our customers. They were even bad for our sales team. There was a lot of headache, a lot of bad communication. But I was just hiring so fast because we were growing so fast. I just needed some bodies in here to help me. And one of my biggest weaknesses is that I'm impatient, and I was ready to move. And hey, we're past that now. We've had our lessons learned. One thing that we do now is that we have 3 people interview before we make a hiring decision. Used to, it was just me interviewing them. And I really do want to see the best in everybody. I really do want to believe you. If you put this on your resume, if you tell me you did this, I really do believe you. I want to see you be successful. But that's the advantage of having several people interview them, is that they'll ask different questions and, kind of see if they can navigate the onboarding, I guess, in a better way.
Yeah.
Hiring is something that I really had to learn a lot about. But that's, when I was on the supply side of the business, man, I was in sales. So I sold the product and I learned the product. I didn't really know that much about this part of the business, right? So definitely the old saying is fire fast and hire slow. I would encourage everybody to do that. But when you're in it and you're in the thick of it, your anxiety's through the roof, you're stressed, you need help. We sometimes will settle, and that could cost us business in the long run. That's just not worth it. But
I see that so often, like people just settle. It's like, I just need someone to help.
Yeah.
I just need someone to help. And what I like that you said is, you're like, because you hear that thing, and it's an entrepreneurial kind of quote that, if they could do it, 70-80% as good as you, just hire them, go move. But how do you make that not the case? Like, how do you ensure now, as you've gone through this, multiple times, and you're up to, the 20 something employees that you have now, that you look at it, how do you ensure that they're doing 100%?
But
maybe even if it's in a different, maybe at a different process or a different way than you do it, but they're still getting the same result.
But I hate to say it, there's two things here. One, you want to hire somebody who's smarter than you, but you're looking for. I've got estimators here that can dissect a roof way better than I ever could. And we've got project managers here that's been project managing and roofing for 10 and 15 years. And then we also have some new folks to the industry, but those senior people can now mentor the inexperienced ones. And so you're going to have to pay for them. You're gonna, if you're posting an ad for a project manager and you're going to pay them $45,000 to $60,000 a year, you're going to get a $45,000, $60,000 a year employee. But if you pay for, if you post an ad and you set your expectations, and you might have to increase that salary up to the 80 to even 100, salary price range, you're going to get that level of employee. And I know not every time, but you're really going to get what you pay for. And I've learned that. I've tried to be cheap. I've tried to be, to cut corners. And at the end of the day, it's cost me business, and it's cost me so much time, much of my time. It just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
So
why do you think we do that? Because I think we do. I think a lot of times, especially early on in hiring, we're always trying to save money.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's like, oh no, why do you think I don't know, man. Why do you think we go that route?
We're watching our P&Ls. We're watching.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you hire some folks that can help your jobs run smoother, help you with SOPs, identify, anything that's going wrong, how can we get better, and then implement those processes and procedures, your business is going to run 10 times smoother. It is. You're not going to, because the thing is, you don't want to look like a bag of ass out there on the job, right? You want to, when you're out there doing a demolition job, or I don't care if you're roof loading on a commercial roof or you're tearing off on a residential, you want to look like a first class organization. I love the catch-all system where safety cone and everything now. You don't want to just look like a couple of random trucks coming out there and just tearing off like it's a landscape crew. On-site superintendents. You need to really have your processes in place and have those jobs managed correctly. But how
do you price for a professional team like that? Because those people cost money, David.
Yeah, but you got to put them in company vehicles and company uniforms, and they're on your insurance. And then, you want to be able to provide benefits like 401ks and health insurance. So, but you can't be afraid to put your margins where you need them to be. Obviously, there's contractors in our market that sell higher than we do, and they win. And then, unfortunately, you always hear about all the low ballers out there. But you've really got to, sell your service and your warranty. But how you price, one thing we do a lot of that does help us is service work. So those margins are 60 to 80% sometimes. You can use leftover materials, stuff in your warehouse, or you can, there's a lot more risk in a roof repair than a full tear off. So, but what I mean by that is, a roof repair, you think you might have it, but sometimes you got to go back out 2 or 3 times, and that's where it'll start costing you money. But selling that service work, one thing we do is we call it a roof tune-up, and every house we go to, they might not need a full roof replacement, but we'll say, hey, look, we'd like to sell you, or, talk to you about a roof tune-up, and we're going to come out, we're going to change all the pipe boots, tack up any loose lane shingles, anything fish mouthing, check all your flashings, all your penetrations, and this service starts at $1,200. And what it does, it helps us build a customer for life. But that roof does, but what we're doing is we're extending the life of that roof, right? We're not up there, doing anything other than preventing leaks from happening in the next couple of years, because storms happen, right? And you want to make sure you get the oil change in your car, right, to keep it going. Why not get a tune-up on your roof? And so that service work does help with covering cost on overhead, but that's why we got to have a diverse business and boots on ground. We got to keep selling. But
yeah. And that service-based business as a lead into future replacement business. I think that's I've been talking about it for a long time, but and people always ask me that are outside of the roofing industry. When I have a conversation, I'm like, yeah, a lot of roofers don't do roof repairs. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why would a roofing company not do roof? A homeowner can't even comprehend it.
I can't either.
Right. And I was like, but it's the business model that you have subcontractors, and after I explained the business model that, okay, maybe now I get it a little bit, but my goodness, the missed opportunity there. I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors. As a roofing marketing agency owner and coach, I've seen it all. Great marketing wasted because no one follows up fast enough. That's why I built Power Up Agents, not just a receptionist. Our AI handles the entire customer journey, from answering the first call to booking the job to post-job surveys and reviews. 24/7, inbound, outbound, even multilingual. If you want leads followed up instantly and customers nurtured automatically, visit the link in the description or visit the sponsors page on the Roofing Success Podcast website. Your full AI team is ready. Why would a roofing company not do roof? A homeowner can't even comprehend it.
I can't either.
Right. And I was like, but it's the business model that you have subcontractors, and after I explained the business model that, okay, maybe now I get it a little bit, but my goodness, the missed opportunity there.
Most of your crews will come out and send a two-man team out to do a repair for you, So don't mistake the service work from the repair work to the install work. That's three different types of jobs. We can always go out and do, service work is more preventative maintenance. Right?
Got it.
That's good stuff. That's what you want to be in there. Like, hey, let's stop this from even happening before it happens, because then you're going to have interior damages. You're going to have a lot more than just a little roof fix. A repair work is when, you have some shingles blown off or a tree limb fell on your roof or, whatever, older roof and they don't want to replace it. And then you've got the roof, install.
How have you gotten I think that service work is very common in commercial. Do you see it are you guys selling it on the residential side fairly well also?
That's the roof tune up. Any roof that's over 5 to 7 years old, with the major storms that we get, over the years, we don't sell them all the time. Don't get me wrong. There's folks that will object to it, but they can run their credit card right there, check, cash, whatever. It starts at $1,200 and it's a pretty good deal to make sure that your roof isn't going to leak and, and we can help extend that life. So yeah, we're trying to sell more service work on the residential side. You're going to get your HVAC unit serviced every 6 months or every year. At least you do here in the South. Why would you not get the rest of your house checked? So we've had some success with that. It's on the commercial side, it's really good. That's good work too. But we come up to a house that has a bunch of pine straw and leaves in the valleys, and you can see their gutters are getting clogged up. Why not? Let's go ahead and get that taken care of for you. You might not need a roof replacement, but let's get everything cleaned up for when we do have these heavy rains, that everything will flow as smooth as possible.
And it's the opportunity to make an impression, I think, is the right. Like, it's such an opportunity. How have you kind of formulated this to make a great impression on that homeowner during this process to make sure that you're who they call when it's really time?
Well, like you say, there's a lot of contractors that won't do repair or service work. So that's kind of one of our niches, but we have marketing material. It's on our website. Our SEO is helping us with that. We have a trifolder that kind of shows some before and after photos and some success. And we also have weekly sales team meetings. And it's probably talked about every week, if not every other week, because, we have to encourage a lot of service work because it's how we're going to stay in their home for the next 5-10 years. And then they'll give us a call, and we've already had success. We've had some small hail. We've had, some high winds, and we did a roof tune up on a few houses, and they called us and said, we need you to come out and inspect us just to see how we're looking after these storms. And some of that's converted into, roofs, and some of it has been okay. It's just, but you want to build that customer for life. You want to be known as a local service provider. If you are just a storm chaser, that's a great business model, don't get me wrong, but might not always make everybody feel that comfortable.
Yeah. And building that database, it's when the storm happens. How has that happened over the years for you? Because every year you're just adding more people to the database. We're in 2025 now. Yeah. When a storm comes through now, how does the phone ring versus, when you were getting going?
Yeah. Well, it's totally different now. I think you're the one that educated me on that, hey, look, we need 6 months to really get this going for you, building you in the platforms, right? And helping you get to the top of the page. And it's like working out, right? You got to keep putting in reps with your SEO. So longevity in the market obviously does have something to do with it, and your brand and your vehicles out there. And the phones ring a lot more now than they used to. That's a lot better of a feeling. But, at first, that's one of the things, if you're starting out, really try to vet your marketing agency and your companies that you are going to, you're going to, be looking to hire, because they are expensive and they're very intimidating. But I would say that was one of the best decisions we made from the very beginning. And, if you're not launching your company for a few months, I would still encourage you to go ahead and get with your marketing agency to start building that platform and that website for you, and running that SEO and your LSA and PPC ads and everything that you can, because, you have a lot of good competition out there that their websites are already up and running. And that's one of the drivers for the phone calls. But also, you need to attend all of your, local, networking chapters. There's BNI, there's all types of referral based networking groups. Hey, get in there with some other trade partners. Try to find some tree service companies, some painters, some siders, some masons. Work with them and get involved in their network, and that way you guys can refer one another to work as well.
Yeah. How has that been? Have you developed a lot of those relationships in the area, referral relationships with other providers?
We have now.
Yeah.
It obviously took time.
Yeah, of course.
Now if you need a home inspector, you need a mason, you need a painter, you need a decking guy, we have that. And obviously it took a long time for us to really, if we're going to refer you, we want to make sure that you're going to be one of the good ones. But one of my closest, I got 2 really close friends. One's a restoration guy, mold, fire, water, and the other guy is just a remodeler. We just send each other everything at this point. It's as simple as, hey man, just come over here and get it done. Send me the invoice. It can be anything from flashing in some curbs, or it can, hey, he did a porch addition and it's a small little 6 square porch, but hey, we'll take it. If we want to keep our guys busy.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like those relationships, and then you've built a lot of the builder relationships on that side too. What are some things that you did right or in some of the lessons you've learned around building those relationships
with builders?
Yeah, with builders. Yeah.
I mean, business development is a totally different sell than like when you're going out there than doing a door-to-door sell, right? You got to go in there. You got to be in there often. You can't just go in there one time and expect someone to hand you over their portfolio or their book of business. And then you also need to learn how to talk to them by saying, hey, listen, I understand you might already have a roofing contractor, but how can I be your secondary? What can I do to be a phone call away when they are too busy to show up for you? And so I feel like I've done, it's learning your verbiage, is learning how to, kind of be able to take the rejection and know that, hey, look, we're a younger company. I get it. There's companies that have been doing turnkey roofing here for 20, 30 years. They got a great name and they do really good, but they can't service everybody. Oh, I'm not trying to get the whole pie. I'm just trying to get a piece of the pie. One of the things I did wrong, that goes back to the hiring. I hired two project managers that were not as experienced and very unprofessional. And when you bring on a builder, you've done everything you can. You've said the right stuff in the meetings. You've estimated correctly. You've got all the vendor packets filled out. You're ready to go. If you can't service that business, it's over. You're going to get, you're going to go through the pricing phases. You're going to spend 2-3 weeks estimating all their houses. But if you are not set up to service that business, you are in big trouble and it's over. And they're unfortunately always going to remember that.
Yes.
So I was fired by two larger builders here in the Middle Tennessee market, worked really hard to bring those folks on. And because I made quick hiring decisions to take some stuff off my plate, it ended up costing me millions of dollars in revenues. And that's been about a year and a half ago. One of the builders is actually bringing us on board. We start back with them into this summer. So we're super thankful. We've rebuilt our staff. So if that does happen to you, don't give up. You got to keep putting it up. They're not going to win every game. So you need to be able to, you're going to say, hey, you know what? I'm humbled. I see where we screwed up. I'm going to regroup with my team. I'm going to, rebuild this service department and this production team. And then we're going to let you know, we're going to come back. And then one builder, unfortunately, won't even talk to us. They've been scarred, and it wasn't that horrible of an experience, but it was still not the best customer service. So if you are going to start doing this kind of work, you've got to make sure that you have good project managers, good superintendents, and that they know how to communicate professionally, because it is all about communication. It is, you're going to get the installs done. That's fine. But if you don't know how to juggle the amount of communication that comes from that, then, so that was a tough lesson for me to learn. Thankfully I learned it and we're past that, but it goes back to hiring the right people.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of lessons there. The first one is like, I had a episode not too long ago with Jonathan Cronstead, Jay Cron, and he talked about, he always puts people as the last thing in his, like he has a hierarchy of seven P's, and people's the last one. And the reason is because all of the other things have to be in place for the people to execute well. And so if you don't have your processes in place, you're not able to handle that business. Now, all of a sudden, you're putting your people in a bad spot. Yeah. Sometimes it might be a bad person who's not, but it was, the process, the communication process may have not been executed on well or put together in a way that they could have done that. And so if and I think about it from a sales perspective too, is like, if you're a salesperson and the company doesn't fulfill on the promises that you are making, well, that doesn't feel good either, right? Like that having your ducks in a row. Then the other thing you said is that we made the mistake and then we kept going back. Like we acknowledged that we made this mistake and that, hey, we had the wrong person. We didn't have the right processes in play. We didn't have the right things in place. They're all just lessons, right? So it's all just, okay, what can I learn from this? Now I move on and we rebuild this area. It's nice that someone is able to give you another chance and some people are not, but that's the way it goes. From that perspective though, like you said, like with these relationships, this is recurring business.
Yeah.
So it's business development versus sales.
It's a different type of sale.
That's different type of sale, So, I mean, I guess maybe you had some, what you did from the distribution side was the same, was a more similar sale. Right? Like a more similar sales process. Yeah.
Right?
I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors.
Stop going at it alone, because growing a roofing company today is not what it was like even 3 years ago. Not with the economy, not with private equity, not with AI taking over the world, and let's not forget insurance rewriting the rules. Join the community of roofers who don't really like roofers. We share our winning secrets to help each other dominate in today's fast-changing and unpredictable times. Click the link in the description to apply to join.
You did from the distribution side was the same, was a more similar sale, right? Like a more similar sales process. Yeah.
Right? And it takes time, when you're on the supply side of the business, you can't just walk in there and to a owner or a roofing company and say, hey, I'm buy from me. You've got to kind of build that relationship. And if someone does buy from you that quickly, that's kind of a red flag. That might, they might not pay their bills. So, you want to have a little bit of hard to get, I guess. But yes, it is about relationships. It is about being consistent. If you call a customer, I don't care if it's property management or general contractors or builders or whoever you're going after. If you call them once every 6 months, no one's ever going to remember you, right? You're not going to know who you are. And if you just let them say, hey, we've already got a roofing contractor, we're good, thank you, don't come back, and then you never go back, well, you're never going to earn that business. So you've got to kind of come up with an approach to where, you're consistently touching them one way or the other, whether it's LinkedIn or emails or, stopping by the office. Hey, I was in the area, wanted to say hello to you, how are things going? You never know when that opportunity is going to be there. And if you only go in there every 6 months, you're going to miss out. So you got to stay consistent with your sales calls and, staying in touch. And that's how you're going to be successful on that side of the business.
When do you give up? Right? Like there's how many times do you reach out until they say no to you so many times that, you just say, all right, I guess we're not the right company.
It's a good question. That's a tough one. It really depends on how badly you want to work for them, I guess. We're all human beings. So have I given up on, trying? Absolutely. Have I let it slip where I forgot to follow up and it's been 4 months? Yeah, of course. One of the things we started doing now is like, we kind of have a top 5 list. We want to work for. And so we kind of make sure we give them the most attention. And then, we kind of, you're going to go from there. But that's a good question. I'm not a sales coach. I'm not a
think that. I think the answer, I love the answer of how much do we want to work with them, right? There's the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, that outlines the Dream 100 strategy. So if anyone listening hasn't read that book, read it, Audible, whatever you do. It's about building those long-term relationships in a B2B sales environment, business development. And the Dream 100 is, hey, these are my Dream 100 customers. It could be 5, it could be 25, it could be 10, it could be whatever it is to you. But I like the way that you framed it. Oh, these are the 5 that these are the ones we want to work for. These 5. No matter, like, we're we're just going to keep stepping up to the plate until we get a hit. Like, we're just going to keep going. I mean, now there are others.
You might just say, hey, let me give you an order so you go away.
That's right. Like, please, just, which is fine too, right? Like, you just gotta, but knowing I think there's some self-awareness there, right? Like, okay, this is who we are. This is who our perfect customer is, right? This builder is a perfect builder for us, the way that we've developed and designed our company. Mm-hmm. Man, we can really serve them on a high level. I could see it. And going after that list and figuring out who that person is. How did you determine which builders are the best, are that top 5 for you? Is it just that they're the biggest builders in the area, or is it that there's some other factors in there for you?
No, we work for builders that build 5 houses a year and some that build, 700-800 a year. I think it kind of boils down to, how are they, how do they treat us when we say hello to them when we come in? And what type of houses they build, or, buildings do they build, or, are they open to speaking to somebody? That's a tough question, because we always want the easy one, right? The one, hey, come on in. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
That's right.
It's the ones that, but we also have learned some hard lessons. We've been hired by some folks that weren't good to their trade partners. And, I guess that just takes some time. We've actually fired a builder before, and they weren't a good fit for us. And, some of these companies, and you got to be careful when you work for them. And sometimes, unfortunately, you won't always know until you already are working for them, but build your network of your local, friends, you're in the roofing business, and ask around about them, ask your supplier about them. But sometimes they want to look at you like you're a bank and not pay you as quickly, or have different terms. So, that's what that vendor packet's all about. Make sure that when you are filling out that vendor packet, or you're talking to, and it don't matter what, builder, GC, property manager, look at those terms. Make sure they are going to be a good partner for you, and make sure they're going to pay their bills on time. That's a big thing.
How do you ensure that they're paying their bills on time? Do you have certain protocols that you have put in place, or is it?
Unfortunately, I've had to learn some of those hard way. Hey, right. I'm wrong. We've never been totally stiffed. I mean, there's been a couple of times where it's been almost 90 days and had to go back and forth and stuff. But sometimes you can ask your suppliers to see if they, know anybody who's worked for him, or, sometimes you can also ask for credit references. That's just some of the lessons you have to learn along the way.
So early in the conversation, you said that that you didn't understand the amount of stress that came along with this journey, right? Like, there's so what advice would you give to, another entrepreneur, another roofing contractor, around, managing that stress and kind of getting to maybe if there ever is another side of it. I don't know if there ever is another side of it, but how do you get through that time?
And I think we all would say, if we could do it again, what we would do differently. You're going to definitely give yourself some grace. You can't accomplish in one day what someone has in 20 years. It's going to take time. One thing that I probably would have done differently would have been had a second phone. You're going to use the same phone for everything. And nights and weekends, I never got a every time our family would go on vacation, It was nonstop work. And I think that's just the entrepreneur life. I know we all do that, but never did take off. Because if it's not a customer, it's an employee. If it's not an employee, then it's a supplier, whatever the case is, you gotta also learn how to handle that amount of pressure, and you've got to remain, professional and in line the whole time. You can't lose your temper. You can't fire back. You've got to be professional. You've got to be level-headed. You're gonna to do it all yourself. I know it's scary hiring, bringing folks on payroll but building that support system is going to help you be successful. And if you need to take a few months to write some SOPs and to put some systems in place on how you want it to be, before you bring on the right person, that's okay. Take your time. Don't rush and just hiring anybody just because they're a warm body. You want to kind of take your time. Remember that they're representing your brand when you go out, and they can hurt you and your reputation quickly. And that's a risk that we all take. But and guess what? It's okay to change those SOPs and make those processes better as you go on. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that's what I'm saying by give yourself some grace. Don't be so hard on yourself. Kind of put your ideas down on how a project manager should handle the job, or a superintendent, or a sales rep, whatever. And then just sharpen those ideas as you go. You're going to have some lessons learned. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be, you're going to have a new challenge every day. You're going to, as soon as you think you had it, put together and everything was perfect, a new obstacle will come up, and you're going to have to learn how to overcome it.
They will always come. David Dees, appreciate your time, man. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you for tuning into the Roofing Success Podcast. For more valuable content, visit roofingsuccesspodcast.com. While there, check out our sponsors for exclusive offers, shop for merchandise, and sign up for our newsletter for industry updates and tips. Also, join the Roofing Success Facebook group to connect with other professionals and stay updated on the latest trends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps us continue to bring you top industry insights. The website link is in the description. Thanks for listening.